Okay, welcome back. Day 2 of the shop cabinet build. Did a little cleanup in here. Clamps are all off of the first cabinet, the prototype cabinet, if you will. Came out pretty good. It's pretty solid, and we'll just give you a look at it. But from here on, I'll just whip out the other couple cabinets that I need to fill in that back right corner, and then I'll disassemble all the old shelving in that back right corner and take some of that old shelving to build the uppers, and I'll show you that as well. Most of that will be all time-lapse, so you won't be too bored with it, but show some basic measurements. Hey, and I actually made some measurements on paper that I'll actually eventually put into a CAD drawing, but there's all the measurements for this bottom cabinets that I'm building for the right side. The left side should be pretty close to equal, but they may be a little bit off. This is all custom just for the wall that it's got to go on. Anyways, let me give you a walk around on how the prototype turned out, and then we'll go right into time lapse on the cabinet that matches it. Okay, I flipped it over on its side because I just wanted to take some measurements off the bottom plate. As you can see, the clamps were all off of it. But it's pretty solid with just the corner brackets in the back, keeping it from rocking. The glue's holding it in place really well. I am going to add a toe kick. That'll give it some more bracing. I'll put a brace in the back and same to block the bottom off. And then I'll put a cross brace down the middle here. Hopefully I'll slow the video down to show you that when I build it. This one I put a full top on. That was really pretty much a waste of lumber. I'm going to go into strips, 4-inch strip front, 4-inch strip top back. And then on the back side, instead of the corner brackets, I'm going to do what I should have done in the first place and do a 4-inch strip along here. So it'll be a 4-inch strip here, a 4-inch strip blocking off the back, and that'll give it plenty of strength. Okay, so I'll set this up for the time lapse. Burned out. This is in case you had any doubt. This is what I did during the prototype. I ended up cutting my side panels or my shelf panels before I had cut off this waist, and now I can use this for the back bracing and even the back toe kick. I would not use it for the front toe kick because I'm anal about the grain going the right way, but I will use it for in the back, top bracing, all of that. So this is a piece I wasted on the prototype, and I ended up cutting triangles out of it. And so now I'm going to take this and cut straight 4-inch strips out of it after I get the length the same as what the width of the shelving is. And that should be pretty quick and easy to do. Got the two sides connected. I got the back toe kick brace in place, so that's good. Now I'm putting the front top brace in here. So 4 inches are going to go this way, straight down. So just need a little glue on each end. Square. Okay, so cabinet number 2 is assembled for the most part. Still got to put the toe kick in and the middle bottom brace. It will help give support to this fairly thin sheet of plywood, so if I put any weight on that. And then, yeah, on the prototype one, I put in a 45-degree triangle to hold the corner square. In this one, I built basically a L bracket. So you got a piece across the top flat, and this is where all the strength's going to come from. That'll keep that whole cabinet from racking. And then it'll also give me a nailer or a screw board to screw it to the wall, put it in place. So that worked out pretty good. And then I got the same thing going in the front. That is basically just something to attach the face frame to that I'll build later after I get the cabinets into their final resting place. Just got it all clamped up so it can dry. Used a couple of 45s to hold the corner square. So as long as it dries like that, we should be good. There you see I got my toe kick board in place, laying there ready to go in. It needs to be just shaved off just a little bit. It's just shy of 4 inches. Yep, that's it. So when I come back on day 3, I'll be able to get that cleaned off, get that set aside. So we'll have this cabinet and we'll have that cabinet there, and they should be exactly the same size. Okay, so the next step, what I got to do is get that shelf unit, all that out of there, so that these 2 cabinets I built will go right in that bottom spot. I got my workbench cleared off from all the lights I had on there the other day. So I'll be able to stack all that stuff on the pool table workbench. And yeah, like I said, I'll salvage those shelves to make the top cabinets. That'll be a shallower cabinet. Bottom cabinets will be 24 inches deep, standard, like what's in the kitchen. So the top ones will be roughly 1.5 feet, either 16 or 18 inches by the time they're faced out. And that'll still give me a little bit of shelf along the front cabinet for setting beverages and playing pool. All right, so yep, next thing to do is time lapse on clearing off the shelves. I just wanted to go over a couple mistakes I made and just get those cleared up before we proceed and jump back forward. On this day is actually day 3 of these cabinets that I'm building. First off, the plywood selection, right? I decided to cheap out because it was a shop project, you know, and they don't need to be pretty. And so I went with a 1932, I believe this is. Basically, it's 1/2 inch plywood, a little bit thicker than 1/2 inch, about 5/8. And so it made the joinery a lot tougher, and it's a lot weaker plywood. It's got bows to it. I mean, it's all stuff I can overcome, and I'll make it work for this project. But if in the future, for any of you who are out there going to build cabinets of your own, I would suggest go ahead and pay the extra $10, especially for shop cabinets, that CDX is fine. That's not a problem, because you're not going to see any of this. It's going to be in a row of cabinets, so you know they're shop cabinets. You know, if you're going to do a kitchen cabinet, you want to use at least a sanded or birch plywood that's a little bit higher quality. At any rate, and this is an exterior grade, that's what the X is. So, you know, plywood choices are probably your first thing you need to consider, and I think I missed the boat on that one. Secondly, I was using the Kreg jig to attach many of these cross braces and shelving, and because of the material was so thin, it was pulling through. And there's two parts to that problem. One, because I went with a cheaper plywood, I had the wrong type fastener. And here's the Kreg fastener. It's a flat pan head screw, and that's specifically designed to catch inside of the pocket that's drilled and flatten out. I had these on hand that were the right length. They're a drywall screw, and because of the thinness of the material, I had to use a shorter screw. Well, as you can see, these are tapered, right? So they pull through, and I'll demonstrate that with a setup I got going on here. But I think pocket holes are still the way to go. I just had the wrong material. So yesterday I put in these screws just straight in. Well, the material was so thin again, it was splitting the wood as it screwed into the shelf. So, you know, I caused myself two different problems. Avoiding all of the pocket hole drilling, yes, it was way faster. Shortcut, yes, it was way faster. But it caused its own set of problems. And the way I'm going to overcome that is I'm going to use some blocking to put underneath the shelving so that the weight of the shelves is not hanging off just the glue and the screws that have already split the plywood. So this will fix that. It's not a big deal. Like I said, you can overcome it, but that can all be avoided if you just use 3/4 inch plywood and the right fasteners for the job. So that being said, I will show you what it is to drill the holes into the plywood and what the effect is driving the drywall screw versus the Kreg's specific screws. Okay, here I have set up the Kreg pocket hole jig. This is the drill. This is pretty much the lowest end of pocket hole jig you can get, but it does the job. So I'm just going to go ahead and drill two side-by-side holes. All right, take that out of the jig. There you see the two holes. So the idea is to put these in like this, and I'll turn it on end, and then I'll show you how those screws pull through. So first one I'm going to put together is with the drywall screw with the tapered head, and you'll see how it will pull through the wood and start splitting it. Whoop. Run out of room with this close up. There you see what it's doing. And that's because it's overdriving. I didn't get it lined up good. Let's start over. Let's just put it there. All right, so there we go. All right, so first is the drywall screw with the tapered head, and as it was doing with my other projects, it was actually pulling through. Maybe a little bit hard to see, but it starts splitting right here. started splitting out. So the second thing I did is I started drilling those screws straight through the board and into the edge. And I can demonstrate that lastly, but the next one I wanted to demonstrate is the Kreg screw, square drive, so I have to change out my bit, but we'll put that in. And this one's a little bit long, that's why I didn't use it. But I should have just went out and bought the 1-inch screws and not trying to make do. But this one's designed with that flat washer to stop at the connecting point and not pull through. Right there it stopped. It didn't split the wood right here like the panhead did, because it was overdriving, pulling through. It just stopped. It made a nice, clean, tight joint. So for the rest of the cabinets I'm going to build, I am going to go buy the right fastener for the job. And the last thing I want to demonstrate is what happens when I drive a screw straight through the product going into. Now if this had been 3/4 inch plywood, I probably wouldn't have had this problem. But I'm going to drive a drywall screw straight through the side into what represents the shelf. This was the side of the cabinet going into a shelf. So just line that up roughly right there. Oh, got to change out my bit again, sorry. There you have it. That's what it's doing. And it doesn't matter because it's right on the end, but for demonstration purposes, I put it there. It would have done that anywhere along that. It would have bulged this plywood out on the inside and the outside. So no more of this. Pocket holes with the right fastener and glue. And I probably wouldn't even have to do any blocking. But now that I'm already there on those first 2 cabinets, I'm just going to block them, and I'll show you that as I'm doing it. I got to put the toe kicks in today. So back to day 3, and hopefully you don't go as far down the road as I did before you realize this. Okay, so we got the toe kick here. I did put the pocket holes in there like I promised. And we're going to... Now you see this one's cupped right here. This bottom shelf's already bowed. So I'm going to have to force it up in there. And force it up in there on both ends and then screw it and glue it and screw it in place. So we're ready to do that, and I don't have my glue out here. Keep my glue in my shop bathroom because it's the only place that's heated. And I don't want it to freeze up. So a little glue on here, if I can get it open. There we go. I better pick up another bottle of glue while I'm at the store getting my 1-inch Kreg fasteners. I got to go out and buy my face frame material. So we'll just do all that at the same time. Have it ready for next weekend. The glue is actually pretty strong by itself. The other thing I wished I would have done is actually dadoed. But again, these are shop cabinets, so I didn't find it that necessary to do. Plenty of support there. Okay, and then I just want to add these blocks just to get some support to the shelf. It's literally hanging off these screws and a little bit of glue. The glue is probably strong enough, but we do not want this to come apart on us. So all right, give you a walk around here. So again, because I'm using such thin plywood, so I got the center brace for support of the shelf because of the 1/2-inch plywood. It's been bowing, so that takes the bow out of it, gives you plenty of support for heavier loads in the box. And then because I did not dado or Kreg pocket screw the ends in, I gave it some extra supports with these blocks. And these blocks are working just like a dado would, giving us the needed support. One sheet of plywood made all of this, and I still have enough left to do the toe kick, I believe, for the other, for the first box I made. In fact, I know I do. I got enough for toe kick, blocking, and all this bracing on the very first cabinet. So all in all, I mean, I did save 20 bucks on the 2 cabinets, you know, and they're good enough again for the shop. But if I was going to do it over again, I would probably just do the 3/4 inch plywood. I'd still use CDX for the shop, but I wouldn't worry about the quality of that. Again, if I was doing an interior grade, I'd go with a sanded or a birch ply. Oh, if you're afraid of a little sawdust, you might want to plug your nose. I really should be wearing a mask, and I bought some. I do need to buy new painters, asbestos, crawling around in the insulation mask, but these work good enough for this. It'll help. Now that I've been breathing it for 2.5 days. Back. Front. Perfect. And center brace. I'll have to cut that size. Perfect. 100% use of a sheet. So 2 sheets, 2 complete cabinets. And if I would have done this one a little bit better, I would have had even more left over. So, you know, take time, build yourself a cut list. There's applications on the old interweb, and look it up for the best way to cut something. All right, I think this is looking good. We're going to pocket hole all this. I think the dust is settled now a little bit. Okay, same thing. Toe kicks in, center brace in, blocking's in. This cabinet's done except for the face frame. And then I'll put a dress toe kick over these to complete this when they're all in. But for now, this cabinet's done. I'll have to run to the store, and you know the one I'm talking about. Big box store. Either the blue one or the orange one. And then pick up some materials for the face frame. Grab some more glue. Grab some 1-inch Kreg screw fasteners. And come back and build a couple more. Actually, today I still probably will build 2 uppers to match these 2 lowers for that corner that I cleaned out yesterday. So for now, I'm gonna go put this one in place. All right, I want you to excuse the mess because as you can see, I took down all my storage for this corner, so it's everywhere. But that's the fit of the 2 cabinets in the corner. They're a little tighter than I was hoping. Probably should have made them another inch shorter total, but that's all right. Now I'm just going to go ahead and at least build at least 1 upper today. And this is actually out of all the old shelving that was up here. I'm going to build it, and this is 3/4 inch plywood, so it's not going to match the lower stuff exactly, but by the time I put the face frames on, you won't know the difference. Anyways, yep, we'll get started on that. I guess I could show you what the plan is with these, because I still need to put probably a shelf in here so that I don't have to pull one box out to get to the other. But the idea is that, ow, the idea is to watch where I'm going. Just back right into my snow plow. The idea is to be able to do this. And there's room for a shelf, so I can put a shelf in between them. Plenty of room. And I have plenty of these large Rubbermaid bins, you know, to keep moving pads in, paints, whatever, I don't know. So, and there's still room for, oh, let's say I got a couple of containers like this. This is a bandsaw. Oops, move my fat finger. That can go in there. Look at that. So that's good. A bandsaw. Then I got this DeWalt kit. That could go on the top shelf right next to it. So plenty of room. Do the same thing over here. Yep. So that's the plan. Nothing's too crowded. Nice thing about all this, once the doors are on it, it'll keep the dust out of there. So that'll be good. All right. I guess I'll see you back at the table saw when I'm cutting up the 3/4 inch ply for the uppers.